Assalamu alaikum. Have you memorized Surah Al-Falaq? Now, I'm sure most of you guys probably have memorized Surah Al-Falaq because it's one of the smallest surahs in the Quran. It's something that most people memorize when they're very young, and you probably have memorized it because most Muslims have. Now, what if I were to ask you, what does Al-Falaq mean? What would you answer? Most people actually wouldn't even know what to answer because they don't even know what Al-Falaq means. I mean, the surah is called Surah Al-Falaq, and most people don't even know what the word falaq actually means. And not only that, they don't know what many of the words even of the whole surah means. They don't know what falaq means. They don't know what ghasiq, which is another word in the surah, means. They don't know what waqab means. Most of the words, or a lot of the words in this like 4-line surah, people don't even know what it means. And me, just like many other Muslims, also didn't know what al-falaq means. The only difference is because I know Arabic, I can actually go and figure out what it means. And so in this video, I'm just going to share my journey of how did I go about researching it, and what did I come to the conclusion of what does Al-Falaq mean in the surah, in the ayah, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ. What does it mean? So let's begin. So to start, I just pretty much started the same way anyone who doesn't know any Arabic would actually start. I simply just went to translation. So I just went to Quran.com and I went to Surah Al-Falaq and scrolled down. I made sure to go into the settings and check every single box for all of the translations just so I can make sure that I see what 10 translators have translated this word as, just to see how it is across the board. And I found that Al-Falaq, pretty much in maybe like 8 out of them or 7 of them, it meant daybreak. And so you think that's it, right? Falaq means daybreak. That's it. That's the end of the video. Well, when I read that, what does even daybreak mean? Literally, what does daybreak mean? Imagine if you had a meeting and somebody said, oh, hey, tomorrow we have a very important meeting. Meet me tomorrow at daybreak. What's daybreak? You don't know what daybreak is. Nobody knows what daybreak is. We don't use daybreak in our regular language, everyday English language. Does it mean when the sun first comes up? Does it mean 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m.? What does it actually mean? What does daybreak mean? This is the end of the journey for someone who doesn't know Arabic, because that's it. They can go to the translation. Falaq means daybreak. Boom. That's all they could really access. But me and anyone who knows the Arabic language or wants to know the Arabic language, they want to dig deeper. So that's what I did. So I went to a different dictionary, a basic dictionary, and because I know some Arabic, the word falaq, the root letters, it's only a 3-letter word. There's 3 root letters. Therefore, every single letter is a root letter. Falaqa. Those are the root letters. And so using a basic dictionary, one of them called Arrow Tools, is you just go, you search it up, put falaqa in there, and you see if there's any more meanings. And the word falaq actually didn't even come up when I searched it. It just had the verb falaqa. And it said it means to crack or to split. And so, okay, well, now I have a little bit more context to the word. It means daybreak, apparently, but the actual word, the verb, it means to crack or to split. So when you split something up, open, it is falaqa. You did falaq of that thing. So now I have a little bit more nuance. But that's still not enough. What does that even mean in the context of the ayah? Because the ayah translates to, I seek refuge in the master of al-falaq. And if you say falaq means to crack or to split open, that means the ayah is, I seek refuge in the Lord, or in the master of splitting open. What does that even mean? And so what I did is I went to a more advanced dictionary, one that's all in Arabic. I don't even know if it's translated. And I just searched up for the root letters falaqa again, and I saw what that word meant. Now here I actually came across a more deeper meaning than I did in the other dictionary and in the translation. In this dictionary, which I forgot the name of, but I'll put it on the screen, exactly what the name of that dictionary is. It is pretty much, it said al-falaq al-khalqu kulluhu, meaning falaq is all of creation, the entirety of creation. So everything that is created is called falaq. The world is called al-falaq. When you include the world plus the universe plus the human plus everything, all of that is called al-falaq. And so the ayah could mean, I seek refuge in the master of all of creation. And that could be a very plausible meaning. But when I kept searching, I also kept on seeing al-falaq meant as-subh. Al-falaq as-subh. Al-falaq as-subh. Meaning the word falaq also means subh, which is just like morning. It means morning. It means morning. But that wasn't necessarily sufficient for me because there's so many words for morning in the Arabic language. For example, there's the word fajr, there's the word duha, there's the word shuruq. There's so many words for morning that what does falaq mean specifically, and what category does it fall into in terms of time? Is it when the sun is in the middle of the sky? Is it when the sun just rises? When is al-falaq actually? And so doing more research, I couldn't actually find exactly what time falaq is. And so I was like, okay, maybe if I could figure out what all these other words mean, like fajr, shuruq, duha, if I could figure out what those words mean, then that could narrow down what falaq could actually be. And so that's what I did. I went to figure out, what does fajr mean, for example, the word fajr, what does it mean? Well, I know the actual word fajara, the verb actually fajara, means to explode. So anything that explodes, you can say fajara. But it refers to the morning is because when the light is exploding. And it specifically refers to the time when the light first horizontally, shows itself onto the horizon. If you're like in a very flat plane and you can see the horizon and you're right where the sun is about to rise, you first, before the sun rises, you actually see a long horizontal streak of light. And that horizontal streak of light is the beginning of Fajr. And I think, according to the Sharia, it's the Fajr time for like Salah, it begins at that time and it ends at a like time whenever the tip of the sun first comes up. And so that very small but specific window of time is Fajr. And so that's what the word actually refers to. So, okay, that narrows it down. So I think that couldn't necessarily be Al-Falaq as well. And one interesting thing is actually, when I was researching what Fajr meant, I came across the fact that there are actually two Fajrs. Whenever I was reading some tafsir on the ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah I think 187, which the word Fajr is used, I read that there are two types of Fajr actually. There's something called Al-Fajr Al-Kadhib and Al-Fajr Al-Sadiq. Fajr Al-Kadhib means the lying Fajr. Fajr Al-Sadiq means the truthful Fajr. And what that pretty much means is one of the Fajrs aren't actually the real one. One of them is. The one that's the real one, like I said, is when the light becomes horizontal. But I guess sometimes this phenomenon could happen in which before the sun comes up and also before the light becomes horizontally across the horizon, there could be this random like vertical streak of light that goes across the sky vertically. And that is also fake Fajr. People could think, oh, it's Fajr time because look, the light is like, there's light now. So it's Fajr time. But actually, that's not Fajr. Fajr is when the light becomes horizontal. So there's also these two types of Fajrs. So that kind of narrows it down that, okay, these are what are called Fajr. Duha pretty much just means like forenoon. And forenoon, if you don't know, noon is at 12. Afternoon is after 12. Forenoon means before 12. So that forenoon. But when does it actually begin? Shuruq ends, duha begins, and that until until like dhuhr time, that is all the time for duha. And so I came to all these conclusions. I said, okay, I figured out what duha means, I figured out what shuruq means, I figured out what fajr means, but I still don't necessarily know what time specifically does al-falaq refer to. Like, it means daybreak, but what is that? Is it fajr? Because whenever the sun first is about to come up, there's like a horizontal line of light. Is that horizontal line falaq? Because technically the word falaq means to split. So is that the moment when like darkness is splitting because there's a line of light that is like cutting across it, so it's getting split? So that is al-falaq. Is falaq what's referred to as, after that? Or it just means daybreak, but I don't know specifically what time in the day it means. But I do know that it could also mean all of creation. Al-Falaq means all of creation. And that seems to make also sense in the ayah. If you say, I seek refuge in the master of creation from the evil that he created, which is the second ayah, min sharri ma khalaq, that makes sense because it's talking about creation here. Falaq could also mean creation. Okay, so that pretty much sums up all my research. This is pretty much what I came to know. Let me know if you know something and you have done research, and if you have, then also give a link to like proof, to evidence, like, okay, this dictionary says this about the word falaq and it explains it. Something that actually can actually define what the word falaq means specifically in terms of time, instead of just saying daybreak. Also, I want to make a little bit of an announcement. I actually made this video for a couple of purposes. One of them is, of course, just so you could know what these words actually mean, because so many people have memorized these surahs from when they were like 6 years old, 7 years old, and they've recited it 1,000 million times. But if somebody walked up to them and said, hey, what does falaq mean? They would have no clue what falaq actually means. And so I also didn't know what falaq meant. So I did the research and I shared what I knew. So that's one reason. Another reason is to also show you guys that if you don't know the Arabic language, you would literally have been stuck at the very beginning of the journey, daybreak. You would have gone to Quran.com. What does falaq mean? You go to the Surah Falaq. You would say, oh, it means daybreak. Boom, that's it. You would not be able to go any further. You wouldn't know about dictionaries. You wouldn't know how to even read them because they're in Arabic. You wouldn't know how to find what the root letters are. You wouldn't be able to figure out any of these things or compare them to different words. And so you would just be stuck. Now imagine you know a surah, you memorized it from you were 5 years old or 6 years old, and you've recited it 1,000 times, and you don't know what the word means. And the best you can get is a one-word translation, daybreak, whatever that even means. What does daybreak even mean? And so if you are more serious about learning the Arabic language, then whenever you're on YouTube, you kind of feel disconnected. There's no actual community where it's like, okay, these people all want to learn Arabic, because you can go watch your own YouTube videos about the Arabic language, but there's no actual maybe community around that. And so I want to announce a free community that I made, pretty much just all for Arabic learners, people who have learned the Arabic language but they want to continue and better themselves, people who don't know Arabic at all. It is a free community that you could join. Inshallah, in the future, I'm going to be making like PDFs or any type of actual material, Arabic material that could actually be useful to people. And I'm going to summarize it. Sometimes it's going to be things that I make videos about, and I'll just summarize it in a PDF or a Arabic grammar cheat sheet or something like that that's actually useful in the Arabic language. And I'll just give those out, and you can just download them if you're on the community. Or in the future, if I make like a course or something, then people in that will be able to get access to it. And it's just going to be useful because you could ask Arabic questions. You're just in a community of people who, you know, everyone here either knows Arabic or is like me and wants to know Arabic, or they are like me and they want to get better in the Arabic language. So if you're interested in that, then just join the community. It's completely free. Obviously, it's empty right now because I just made it and I just announced it. So right now it's not going to have anything, but in the future it's going to be more thriving, and it's going to be very beneficial for those who want to learn Arabic or for those who want to get better at Arabic. So join that, inshallah. But before you go, just let me know, what did you think of this video? What did you think of actually understanding a little bit deeper the word falaq? Or did you also find it interesting about the word fajr or duha or shuruq? And what did you think of this video? Pretty much just let me know your thoughts. And I hope you enjoyed. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.